Good morning to everyone. I am Dr. Ajay, ENT Assistant Professor, and today we will discuss about one easy topic, but it's an interesting topic also. When we go ahead with the concept oriented approach, like seeing the anatomy, pathology, and the development part, it carries some important MCQs with it, and for pre-final years it carries some important viva voice question with it. Okay, so we are just discussing with the pinna, nothing else. So pinna is one of the easiest topic, and I will start with the pinna. So in a pinna, we all know the pinna is a elastic cartilage. So it is a single piece of yellow elastic cartilage. It's made up of a single piece of yellow elastic cartilage. Okay, and this cartilage is usually in communication with the cartilaginous part of the external artery canal. Okay, it is in communication with the cartilaginous part of the external artery canal. Okay, and it is a elastic cartilage, a very important MCQ and for your understanding also. And we know this pinna is not a straight one, right? There are some elevation, there are some depressions present within the pinna, and what makes it is it makes a cute look, or it makes some different look with the pinna. Okay, so if there is some say if there is some problem with the pinna, our guys or whatever, they will just kindle us, okay, regarding this. So pinna makes a appearance a cute one or a cool one. Okay, so you want to know regarding the shape of the pinna. So what are the shape in the pinna? So these elevations and depression, what are I mentioned now. So coming on to it, so we want to know about the main thing, the upper part. This upper part is called as a helix. Okay, and just in front of the helix there is a elevation which is called as antihelix. Okay, and between the antihelix and the helix, here there is a depression which is called as Sympa Concha. When we feel for that, we can feel the Sympa Concha. So what is the significance of Sympa Concha? It is the anatomical landmark for mastoid antrum. So for feeling the mastoid antrum tenderness, when we press over the Sympa Concha, we can feel for the tenderness. So it is the anatomical landmark for mastoid antrum. Okay, so coming on to the next one. So what is in the front? The front part is called as a tragus. Okay, tragus, and this depression, this entry point, this is called as a entry point is called as a concha. Okay, this is called as concha. Okay, so we want to know about two things. Okay, one is the helix and the antihelix, and the next important thing, we want to know which area of the pinna there is no cartilage, that is devoid of cartilage. Okay, there are two parts of the pinna where there is absence of cartilage, where there is devoid of cartilage. Two parts of the pinna where there is devoid of cartilage. One is a lobule, as we all know, where we prick our ears, right? And the second one is this area between the tragus and the crest of the helix. This area is called as incisura terminalis. Incisura terminalis. Okay, so incisura terminalis is the area between the tragus and the crest of the helix. So the significance of the incisura terminalis is, there are two important significance. One is this area is devoid of cartilage. This area is devoid of cartilage, and the second point is there is an incision which comes from inside, that is a Lempert's incision, which is an endoral incision. Okay, which comes from the external artery canal. Okay, and it cuts through the incisura terminalis and comes out. So it is called as Lempert's endoral incision, makes a cut around the incisura terminalis area. Okay, these 2 points are very, very important with the pinna is concerned. Okay, so coming on to the next one, in a pinna, for some people we can see some 1 minute. Okay, for some people we can see a projection here for some people, right? So that is called as Darwin's tubercle. Darwin's tubercle is a normal one. Okay, I will show you the picture if I have. So Darwin's tubercle is nothing but it is just a simple projection in this area of the helix, that is a Darwin's tubercle. Okay, it doesn't carry any significance. Okay, so what are the uses of pinna? So pinna, what are the uses of pinna? For a surgeon, when we do a meringoplasty or when we do a correction like a rhinoplasty, for augmentation rhinoplasty, we harvest a cartilage. So the cartilage can be harvested either from the tragus or from the canca, either from the tragus or from the canca. Okay, so this is regarding the pinna anatomy is concerned. So coming on to the nerve supply of pinna, before going to the picture, coming on to the nerve supply of pinna. So nerve supply of pinna, we need to have in mind the 3 important nerves. In fact, I will say there are 5 important nerves. Okay, the 3 important nerves which are concerned with the full auricular supply, sensory supply of the pinna. One is the greater auricular nerve, greater auricular nerve. So greater auricular nerve, 1 minute. So greater auricular nerve receives its contribution from cervical plexus, that is from C3 and C4. Okay, and the next one is, second one is lesser occipital nerve. Okay, greater auricular nerve, lesser occipital nerve. So greater auricular nerve, what I said, it receives its innervation from it's not C3 and C4, it is C2 and C3. Okay, lesser occipital nerve, again it is from the cervical plexus, receives its innervation again from C2. Okay, and the third one is auriculotemporal nerve. Auriculotemporal nerve, which is a branch of mandibular division of trigeminal nerve. Mandibular division of trigeminal nerve. So where all these nerves supplying, and the pinna also receives a part from the vagus nerve. Okay, and this vagus nerve, the vagus nerve which supplies the pinna is called as auricular branch of vagus nerve, is called as auricular branch, is called as, the other name, Arnolds nerve or Alderman's nerve. Okay, Arnolds nerve or Alderman's nerve. These are the other names for auricular branch of vagus, and where it supplies around this entry point, around the canca area. Okay, and the fifth nerve is a facial nerve. So the facial nerve also supplies the area around the canca area. So in a pinna, just remember this area is lateral, this is medial. Okay, this is medial, this is lateral. So auriculotemporal nerve usually supplies this part of this lateral aspect of the pinna, and the rest all are supplied by the greater auricular and the lesser occipital. Same in the posterior. I will just show the picture also. So then the nerve supply, as I said, the auriculotemporal nerve supplies the lateral aspects in the front part. Okay, in this area. Okay, the rest all in the back side, it is by the greater auricular nerve. Sorry, it's not in the back side. In the lateral aspect, this area will be supplied by the greater auricular nerve. It is the canca alone which is supplied by the vagus nerve and the seventh nerve. Okay, in the medial aspect, again the lesser occipital nerve will receive only a superior contribution, the rest all by the greater auricular nerve, which is C2 and C3 as I mentioned. Okay, so greater auricular nerve supplies a major contribution. So what is the significance of this is, so if there is any neck pain also, through the cervical plexus, the patient may have a referred pain to the ears. Okay, or if there is any pain in the dental region, there will be referred pain through the auriculotemporal nerve, through the to the mandibular division of trigeminal nerve, right? So and if there is any problem with the larynx, the patient will have a referred pain to the ear. That is because of the vagus nerve or auricular branch of vagus nerve, right? So these are the nerve supply of the pinna. Okay, so coming on to the next one, the development. So the development of pinna. So where the pinna is being developed? So the pinna develops from the first and second pharyngeal arches. Okay, say this is the first arch, this is the second arch. Okay, this is arch, this is a cleft, and this is a pouch. Okay, what happens is the pinna develops from the 6 swellings which are called as hillocks of His around the first and second arches. Okay, there will be 6 swellings which are called as hillocks of His. Hillocks of His around the first and second arches. Okay, so these will turn into pinna at a later age. Okay, this will turn into pinna at a later age. So one developmental point which we want to know is, it is only the tragus arises from the first arch, the rest of pinna arises from second arch. Okay, so the pinna, is it attains a full size at birth? The pinna usually it attains a full size at birth, but it usually grows till 5 years of age. The pinna is mature at birth, that means all the elevation, all the depressions are fully formed, but it grows till 5 years of age. Grows and grows till 5 years of age. Okay, so the pinna usually develops its adult size by 5 years of age. Okay, so there are certain developmental anomalies in which we will discuss about the major important ones only. Okay, so there is a condition called as microtia. So what is microtia? Microtia is nothing but it is reduced size of pinna. Microtia is reduced size of pinna. The pinna size is getting reduced, that is called as microtia. Okay, and coming on to the next one, anasia. What is anasia? Anasia stands for, anasia means absence of pinna. The pinna is completely absent, that is called as anasia. I will show the picture now. So here say this is a pinna, normal pinna. Here the pinna size is getting reduced. So these are the various grades of microtia. The pinna size is getting reduced, various shades of microtia, and here there is complete absence of pinna, that is anasia. Okay, this is microtia and this is anasia. So what you want, how will you treat this microtia or anasia? The treatment is, what we want to do, we want to reconstruct the ear. So we want to reconstruct the pinna. So reconstruction of the pinna is called as, so any reconstruction, it is plasty. So reconstruction of the pinna is called as otoplasty or a pinnaplasty. Okay, otoplasty, or otherwise it can also called as a pinnaplasty, whatever. Okay, so here we are reconstructing the pinna. So how we are reconstructing the pinna? We are harvesting a cartilage from one area and placing it over the other area. Okay, placing it over the ear area. So which cartilage are we harvesting? We are harvesting a rib cartilage, and usually for a pinna reconstruction we need to wait till it attains the mature size, that is till 5 years of age. It is not usually done immediately following birth. Okay, we need to wait till 5 years of age until the opposite side pinna attains its full maturity, and then we need to align it according to the size of the normal pinna. Okay, so this is, we are harvesting a rib cartilage and we are placing, and there are various techniques with it. So not to go in much depth of it, we will put it on other slide. So we will harvest a piece of rib cartilage, and at what age it is done? It is done after 5 years of age. Okay, so coming on to the next condition, next developmental anomaly. So if there is a incomplete fusion of first and second arches, then there occurs a condition called as preauricular sinus. So what will happen? So normally, as I said, the tragus develops from the first arch, the rest of the pinna develops from the second arch. So when the first and second arches, if there is incomplete fusion, say if this is the pinna, just in front of the pinna, there occurs a pit, empty pit. Okay, this is called as preauricular sinus. So the reason is, it is due to incomplete fusion between the first and second arches. So how it will appear like is, okay, so this is a picture of the preauricular sinus. Here this is a pinna, okay, and there is a pit just in front of the pinna. This indicates a preauricular sinus. So what is the treatment for preauricular sinus? The treatment is, if it is not infected, the treatment is excision, okay. But sometimes the examiner may ask you, or when you see a OP patient with the infected preauricular sinus, we will either do the first thing what we will do, we will either do a incision and drainage of the, or we will the first thing is we will go ahead with the course of antibiotics. If it doesn't reduce, or if the infection is getting bigger and bigger, then we can even drain the abscess. But draining the abscess is very dangerous, since there we will artificially create some extra tracts, okay. So but if there is a very severe pus collecting inside, then we need to drain the abscess either with the course of antibiotics. If it doesn't settle, drain the abscess. So and then after the infection subsides, then we need to excise the preauricular sinus, okay. We are putting a, so what we will do, we will just put a incision, we will just put a elliptical incision. First we will inject a dye in the preauricular sinus tract, the dye will go up to some area, okay. So and then we will put a elliptical incision surrounding that area, and then we will just excise the sinus tract in toto, okay. So this is regarding preauricular sinus is concerned. And there are other developmental anomalies like ahead of the preauricular sinus, say apart from the preauricular sinus, say this is the pinna, and if there is something like a tag in front of the pinna, it is called as preauricular tag. Again, it's a developmental anomaly. The treatment is excision of the preauricular tag, okay. These are developmental anomalies which I am pointing, okay. And the next one, what I said, our pinna is a cute one, means the pinna defines our shape, it defines our character. Some people even say the pinna defines our character, okay. So the pinna, some people will have a normal pinna, some people will have a big size pinna, some people will have a small size pinna, whatever, and there are certain developmental problem with the shape of the pinna. We have finished the size, there are some problem with the shape of the pinna, okay. So say if my pinna is like this, and when I just pull it like this, okay, now it will appear like a pinna of a bat, right. So this is called as bat ear. So bat ear is nothing but, it is because of the absence of antihelix. This antihelix part, if it is absent for me, then my ear will appear like this, okay. So the bat ear is because of the absence of antihelix, okay. And so here just showing a picture of it. This is a, here normally there should be antihelix should be there, but what has happened, this antihelix is absent here. So now the ear is now appearing like a, enlarged or a bigger size ear. This is called as bat ear, okay. And for a completion sake, I have put one more diagram. Here the superior part of the helix is being turned inside. The normal helix should be like this, but here the superior part is turned inside, the rest of the pinna is normal. This is called as lop ear, L-O-P, lop ear, in which the superior part of the pinna is just turned inwards. It is called as lop ear, okay. So fine. So we have dealt with the pinna, anatomy of the pinna, okay, and we have dealt with the development of pinna and anomalies, developmental anomalies associated with pinna. So for a pre-final, the nerve supply to the pinna is very, very important. The important MCQ, important 2 marks and important question is the nerve supply to pinna. You need to draw the diagram in your exam if they ask in a 2 marks, okay. Nerve supply to the pinna. And these developmental anomalies, the developmental anomalies whatever I pointed, the preauricular sinus is an important short note for you. Preauricular sinus, just expand and write whatever they are asked, and they may even ask the developmental anomalies in the pinna as a short note, okay. So this is a very easiest and a very very attractive topic also, so that it will be very helpful for both pre-finals and those who are going for the exam. So hope it will be helpful for you. If there is any doubt, you can just WhatsApp me in my number. Don't call, but you can just WhatsApp me, or you can join in my Telegram page, which is ENT for pre-finals next by Dr. Ajay. Okay, or Dr. Ajay is exploring ENT Telegrams page. Okay, for instant discussion, you can either WhatsApp me or you can join in my Telegram page or the Facebook page. My Facebook page will be in the same name. Telegram page, I have a separate page for the pre-finals. I have tried with a separate page for pre-finals. So hope it helps. Okay, so thank you.